tour films, I think music tour films are always a cliche by now. You follow a band around. This is nothing like any other tour film that's ever been done, I don't think, since the Rolling Stones, maybe. Did you start out to make this kind of movie, or did it just kind of evolve this way?
It evolved, yeah. We started out just wanting to basically document what we were doing on stage and get some backstage footage to sort of, you know, shoot some black and white backstage stuff to cut away and give you a sense of being on the road, you know, but then I got more interested in the backstage footage. So
the backstage took over, right?
It absolutely took over. I mean, and my rationalization for that was that I thought it is a live medium. Yeah. You know, most people will already have seen the show that want to see the show, and to try and really fully capture that completely, I don't think you'll ever. I think you'll always sell it short. Yeah. So let's concentrate on the backstage stuff, because that certainly was more interesting to me. And I mean, we didn't really know exactly what we were doing, but
when you were watching the rushes, or if you're watching the footage of this and you see yourself in it without makeup and you're wearing this little shower hat and stuff, did you think, gee, should I be doing this? I mean,
no, I said, ooh, I look really grody good.
Why would that be good?
Well, because everybody has a preconceived notion about me, you know, because I love to be glamorous and stuff, but I mean, to show other dimensions, you have to sort of be willing to get down to the nitty-gritty, undressed, so to speak.
You want to talk at all off camera? He has nothing. He doesn't want to live off camera. He wants to talk. There's nothing to say off camera. Why would you say something if it's off camera? What point is there of existing?
Do you think this is a totally honest movie, the way it's come out?
Totally honest.
Is there anything you've held back at all?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but there's no way that you could have seen every aspect of my life in 2 hours. I mean, the camera, even if the camera followed me around for my entire life, you know, how can you ever really completely know me? But even a lie is very telling. So, you know, I'm not one of those people that think, oh, they know that the camera's on, they're not telling the truth. I mean, if you go into a psychiatrist's office and you say, you know, you sort of change the truth a little bit, or you make, you know, or whatever, there's still something revealing about that. Even a performer who's actually on stage performing, there's something revealing about their persona, their personality, their character.
We don't meet a lot of your family in here. We know you have one brother on tour with you. He's an artist, but we meet Martin, your other brother, in this. And he turns up, and he's sort of trying to convince people that he's pretty tight with you, too. It's not entirely convincing.
Well, he's a bit of a con artist. That's the charming thing about my brother.
But then you're telling us the security guy, if he turns up with his entourage watching because my brother's crazy, and he turns up late and you've gone to bed, and this is all being filmed.
Well, about 5 hours late.
Well, he has to crawl out with his tail between his legs and his friends with him. It's so touching, you know.
But that's life, isn't it? I mean, I wanted to show a slice of my life, and that's part of my life. And in a sense, that is a microcosmic sort of display of my relationship with my brother. I mean, I adore my brother, you know, but he's a real con artist, and in a way, he's a great actor. He's very entertaining.
Has your father gotten used to the fact now? I know he's saying in this film he's objecting to the sexy parts of the show and says, I know, it's already.
Dad, I'm not getting racy. I've been racy.
I know, but can't you tone it down a bit?
What, for you?
Yeah.
No, because that would be compromising my artistic integrity.
Well, of course. You undressed in this performance?
No.
Oh, God.
Of course I don't.
Has he gotten used to the fact that you're sort of plumbing your boobs all over magazines?
I think his you know, his kind of protesting of it, you know, is almost like a reflex more than a... Because I know he expects it of me now, and he doesn't, you know... Well, it was a little, you know, it was a little racy in some sections. Well, you know, I mean, he would never be specific with me. And like, oh, yeah, right, Dad. And then we go on to the next subject.
Yeah. Why did you decide to go to your mother's grave site? That seemed like maybe pushing it. I'm sure some people will feel that's pushing things too far to take a camera crew to your mother's grave. And you think it was tasteless? Or?
Why? What's tasteless about it? My mother's death is a big part of my life.
Yeah, but taking a camera crew there, I think people might say, well...
Well, they would probably think if they were offended by that, then they would think that the interview with my friend Moira and my brother Martin and all the other really revealing things would be, I would think they would find the whole thing offensive.
you think some of your fans might? I mean, your fans go down to, I'm sure, 12 and below, no doubt. Do you think this is a movie for all of them? Do you think everybody should see it, or should it just be, it's an R-rated film now?
It's an R-rated film. I think that teenagers could certainly see it. Beneath the age of, what, I don't know, like 13 or something, I would, you know, I think it would be good if a parent, if the kid like insisted they wanted to see it, that their parent was there to make sure to explain things to them that they didn't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner also crops up in this. I thought it was really hilarious. I mean,
Yeah.
is he aware that his little vignette in here is going to be in the movie?
Yeah, he knows it.
How does he feel about that?
I don't know. I haven't asked him. But do you have his phone number? I mean, you could call him up right now.
Well, maybe afterwards.
No, I don't. You know, I don't. I know I'm making fun of him to a certain extent. I'm basically, you know, I think Kevin has this sort of real Jimmy Stewart, aw shucks kind of image, you know, and you know, I just was teasing him about it, and I certainly wouldn't feel comfortable about showing that scene in the movie if I didn't make fun of myself constantly throughout the whole movie. So.
Yeah. There's a vignette in the film which shows a gay pride parade in New York, and has Queer Nation is in there. I wonder if you're aware of the group in New York that is now putting out posters that say "Absolutely Queer," and I'll have a picture of a very hot young actress or a very well-known
Outing.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think of that practice?
I think it's a tough one. You know, I think, you know, it's an explosive issue, really. You know, on the one hand, I can see their point of view, the people that want to out people, and saying, you know, if people in powerful positions would come out and say they were gay, then the masses, or the people that don't understand, or the people that have prejudice against homosexuals and gay lifestyles or whatever, would see, you know, would get rid of their stereotypes that gay people are, you know, perverts or whatever, you know. If you know, a handful of powerful people would just have the courage to come forth, I think that's their point, you know, and saying, but on the other hand, the other side of the argument is, you know, I'll come out when I'm ready to come out, or I'll say my sexuality or my sexual preference is nobody's business. You know, I mean, there's two sides of the story.
I think that dominates the argument, though, doesn't it? I mean, people have a right to say what they want when they want to say it.
Yeah.
And also, how do you know these people are gay?
People do have the right to say what they want to say. It's unfortunate that there aren't more outspoken people on gay rights, you know, that are in powerful positions.
Yeah.
You know, that's the unfortunate aspect of it. And it's unfortunate that saying somebody's gay is such a frightening thing in the world today, that it's such a frightening concept, you know.
No doubt to some extent because of AIDS, I would imagine.
Absolutely, right? Because of AIDS,
Good morning, class. Being double the text for running water. If you have no extra word and substitute liquid, you are all wearing.
I want to be a baby.
I wanted to ask you about the whole "Justify My Love"
brouhaha.
Brouhaha. Yeah.
Oh, but can we talk about it on MTV?
I think we can.
Okay.
You know? Some of us wanted to see it shown on MTV, maybe late at
We
night.
won't name any names, will we, Kurt?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But I wonder what you made of the subsidiary controversy with the track being lifted from Public Enemy, and Lenny Kravitz is getting a lot of...
Yeah, but Public Enemy lifted the track from James Brown. I mean, if we talk... Yes, but rap artists to talk about originality, because they all rip off tracks from everybody else. I mean, that is the essence of rap music. Yeah. You know, they have one would hope they have political messages or something to say in their rap, but generally it's all music borrowed from other people. Yeah. So.
Do you think this is a good thing, or is it simply theft?
I think it's inevitable. I mean, I borrow from people all the time in my work, in my videos. I pay tribute to painters and photographers and dancers and so on and so forth. And I think that it's inevitable, and I think one should look at it as flattery, you know, or sort of an homage being paid to somebody.
I know Public Enemy has talked about maybe working with you. They could really show you how this is done. Like
Hell, I'd love to work with Public Enemy. They are my #1 favorite rap group.
Really? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Were you aware of the Ingrid Chavez controversy? She claims she did the songs, and you just overlaid vocals on top of it?
Yes, I was aware of it, but when Lenny Kravitz brought me the song, I didn't know anything about the fact that he had worked with Ingrid Chavez. I mean, I was completely innocent in this situation. And Lenny brought me a track with, you know, with vocals, with the lyrics written, and then I came in and changed the things that I wanted to change vocally or lyrically, and then did, you know, my version of it.
They say that you can't do the masturbation scene tonight, otherwise you'll be arrested.
So what's considered masturbation?
When you stick your hand in your crotch.
The question is, does it help legally, strictly as a legal question, if we go out on stage, someone says, this show may contain graphic material, anyone choose to leave may do so.
Your visit to Toronto is portrayed, and we had originally understood that you actually had to leave Toronto, escape Toronto, essentially, and run away. Is that what happened there? What was the upshot of all that?
Well, I didn't really know until I was told that they will, if they're going to arrest you, they will be waiting for you at the end of the show. So the idea was, okay, well, if they don't, they may change their minds, so we better get the hell out of here, you know, before they do change their minds. So in other words, don't go back to the hotel and spend the night and leave the next day. So we sort of packed up and were ready to go.
Beat a retreat out of the fascist state of Toronto, I believe you referred to it as.
He got out of Dodge.
Will you be going back there ever again?
Oh, I don't think so.
There's a very touching part in the movie where you mentioned that the great love of your life is Sean. You've mentioned this in Vanity Fair and other interviews too. This is kind of sad. I mean, we seem to. I think of you now as being sort of a sad and lonely person. Is that misapprehension?
You don't have to think of me as being a sad and lonely person all the time, but some of the times I think. But everybody is. And at this point in my life, I could say that he was the great love of my life. I mean, that's why I married him. And I think most people have that one person, you know. I mean, the person that you're, you know, live and die for, the person that gets right down in your heart and soul, you know, and makes that big impression. I think everybody has it. I don't know, I mean, it'd be great if it would happen again, but I think most people can say they had that one, you know.
I mean, being Madonna, is there a problem of, like, who's good enough for Madonna? Like, what guy could possibly live up to this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a question of who's good enough, but really who is willing to sort of accept my lifestyle, you know, and be able, I mean, let's face it, it's a tough lifestyle to live, especially if you're not in it, doing it all the time. And I've had years to acclimate myself to the insanity of my life. You know, other people don't, and most people are pretty, sort of want to shy away from it, or frightened by it, or intimidated by it. And I mean, I think I've said this before in interviews, my hat's off to any guy who has the balls to ask me out, you know what I mean? And then I always follow up by, you do know what you're getting yourself into, right?
You also expressed a desire at some point to have children or something.
Yeah.
Could you do that with the lifestyle that you have? I mean, it'd be
no,
nannies,
well,
right?
obviously things would have to change. I mean, I couldn't go on tour for a certain period of my life. I couldn't, you know, run 10 miles. I mean, there would be changes made, you know. But I have to look at it as another adventure, or another thing to conquer, you know what I mean? That's how I have to look at it.
Did you ever think about feminism yourself, or do you just see yourself carrying out your life?
I'm carrying out my life. I mean, I think about humanism. I don't... I think the things that I feel like need to be changed. I mean, I'm aware of it. I'm aware of sexism. I'm aware of racism. I'm aware of homophobia. I'm aware of all of these things. When I started out, I didn't go, okay, these are all these things, these subjects. It's just that I want to tackle, that I want to attack head on, that I want to try and make a change about. But that's sort of the way my life's gone, and it's almost it's a responsibility that sort of fell on my lap that I actually welcome. To justify love.
Music Plus breaks into summer with the biggest names at blowout prices. Dolly Parton, Eagle When She Flies. Wynton Marsalis, Standard Time Volume 2. Grammy winner Mariah Carey. Julio Iglesias, Starry Night.
Falling in love
The Break Into Summer Sale, on now, only at Music Plus.
When you appeared at the Academy Award show, you seemed to, when there was a very tight close-up and you seemed to be a little nervous. Of course, in front of a house like that, I can understand that.
Well, how about how there was 1 billion people watching?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was nervous.
Did you, looking back at the performance, were you happy with it and everything?
Overall, God, yeah, I mean, I was just grateful I got through it. I had so many things working against me. I had never performed live with a 50-piece orchestra before, and that was daunting in itself. And then the microphone that I sang with was supposed to come, sort of telescope out of the ground. And as I was coming out of the ground, a techie underneath the stage said, your microphone isn't going up. And so I'm sitting there, you know, in my very glamorous pose, trying to look, you know, like perfection, you know, and I'm thinking, great, I'm going to walk forward and there's going to be no microphone, and then what am I going to do? So I thought, well, don't look, don't panic, just look good for the first 30 seconds, and then you can fall apart, you know, because, you know, everyone says first impressions are the most lasting. So, of course, there was a mic stand, but it wasn't my height, and, you know, when you do a live performance, you have to sort of get through all the things that aren't exactly perfect, and it's inevitable that something will go wrong. And the more experience you have dealing with those things, they are. And so I think I did pretty well.
I would have died, I'm sure, if something like that happened.
I was nervous, but, you know, I felt good about it. So.
You attended this with Michael Jackson, of course. Was this something you guys sat down and plotted out beforehand and said we're just going to knock everybody's socks off?
No, we started working together, and I didn't have a date for the Academy Awards, and
a comment in itself on our culture, I think.
Absolutely. And I said, well, and Michael was like, well, who are you going to go with? And I looked at him, I said, I don't know, you want to go? And he said, yeah, that'd be great.
Did he pick you up at your house? Was it one of those deals?
No, he didn't pick me up at my house because I was already there. I had to do a run-through of the show right before the show, so I was there ready. So he came and hung out backstage and then went out and watched the show and my performance, and then I came and sat down with him.
So now, afterwards, after the show and everything, did you and Michael go home together, or what happened?
Well, no, we went to Spago.
Yeah.
There was a big party, and we stayed there for hours and hours and hours. And then, yes, he took me home. And now what do you want to know? What happened after that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, all right.
I think we read books, though, quite frankly. We were looking at... I have tons of books on photography.
Yeah.
So that sticks out in my mind.
What did you been working on? You've done a song with him for his next album, I think, right?
Well, we're working on a song.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm a perfectionist, he's a perfectionist, and I'm glad to be working with him, just to have the experience, you know. He's a great musical talent. But, you know, we're going to wait and finish it and then go, okay, do we want to do this? Does he want to put it on his album? Is that the next musical statement I want to make? You know, it's...
This won't be like thousands of lawyers coming in to discuss it, will it?
No, actually, the business aspect has already been taken care of. This is purely a creative question right now.
There's a part in the movie where you mentioned that you're attracted to emotionally crippled people, in a way. And so I've always thought maybe Michael sort of fits in there. Is that fair to say something like that?
Well, I mean, when I said I was attracted to emotionally crippled people, I didn't name any names. I mean, the thing is, I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say I am an emotional cripple. I mean,
You? Yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, when I say emotional cripples, I mean people that are very needy in some way or another, people that aren't fully evolved human beings, and no, I'm not, but I'm working on it. And I think most performers or entertainers or actors are emotionally crippled in some way or another. I think that's one of the reasons we seek out other people's approval in the business that we are. That's why we are entertainers, quote unquote. That's why we are actors playing out different roles, you know. I think most actors, performers, singers, whatever, are emotionally crippled in some way or another. really healthy people just aren't in this business, let's face it.
Do you see yourself getting better? I mean, do you notice I'm better this year than I was last year?
Yeah. And in fact, working on this movie has been a real educational experience in terms of me.
Yeah.
And my emotional state of mind. I think it was a real learning experience about myself, to watch myself, you know, view myself, hours and hours of footage, seeing the sort of the little nuances in the way I deal with people, you know, how I deal with obstacles and how I deal with surprise, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was real educational, and I think it was a valuable. I can't even tell you how valuable it was.
There's also a part in the film where you say that this is a theatrical presentation of my music, the show, the whole tour was. And I think there was one lip sync part in the show, which is very clear what it was. I wonder what you make of, there seems to be a reaction against lip syncing and against the whole sort of artifice of what a lot of pop music is. Do you have any moral thoughts on that?
My moral thoughts are, since I'm not going around saying, you know, it was never a requirement of me that I sing everything live on stage. I think of myself, as I said, as a politician, as a performer, as an artist. But if sometimes part of my theatrical presentation is to have taped vocals while I'm doing other things, then that's, you know, and people are free to not come to my show because of that. That's their option. When you watch videos, they're not live. Everybody lip syncs, and no one seems to mind that.
Given the fact that you plan things out quite a ways in advance, do you have a film schedule ahead? I mean, we heard that you're supposed to be doing a movie with Demi Moore.
I have a lot of things brewing, you know, but with movies, it's always whatever sort of gets done first. You've got to, you know, sometimes there's a script and a director, and the cast is all ready to go. And at other times, there's a script and a director, but the other person in the movie just got pregnant, which is the case with Demi, and you can't go with that right now. And other times, there's the cast and the director are ready to go, but the script isn't ready. And
have your films turned out the way you thought they would when they finally come out? Are you sometimes surprised and say, oh my God, I didn't think it'd be like that?
Sometimes they haven't, sometimes. I mean, I've had, compared to my music career, I've had this much experience in my movie career, and I really want to have more. In my music career, I've had a lot more control, I've had a lot more input, I've been a big collaborator in it. In my movie career, I haven't. I've sort of threw myself into it without a lot of knowledge, and made a lot of mistakes because of that. But in a movie, you know, you're not in charge. Just because you're the actress, you're not in charge. The director makes choices, the cinematographer makes choices, the writer makes choices, and you hope that when it's all finished, it works.
You should direct, obviously.
I want to. I want to direct, yeah.
Do you think there's a momentum in what you do that you constantly have to top yourself? I mean, especially after this movie, after Justify My Love.
It's not an idea the idea isn't that I have to top myself, but that I have to, you know, I have to expand my own horizons and tackle the next issue, or go further in terms of creativity and what it is I want to say and what it is I want to do. I mean, I don't want to just keep doing the same thing and saying the same thing. And the thing is that the issues that I'm interested in life are generally controversial issues, so it seems that I'm trying to do that, you know.
Well,
but for me, I don't question it. It's like, this is what I have to do.
But you will have to do something more spectacular each time, I would imagine.
Well, doesn't everybody? I mean,
well, so few people actually succeed in doing it. It'd be very successful in doing it.
Right. Well, I guess they're not as masochistic as I am.
Who do you want to meet next?
Who do I want to meet next?
Who would really blow you away?
I think I met everybody.